For about 40 years now, the same question has been debated. Is gaming a waste of time, and are gamers ruining their life? The games have changed over the years, from Super Mario to Halo to World of Warcraft to Elden Ring. But people have still been asking the same question. I think this question is incredibly nuanced when you consider things like painting as a hobby or other hobbies that don't have a stigma against them, and people see those as a productive use of time. However, there's still a stigma that gaming is a waste of time. I do want to get into this very nuanced question and debate some of the topic points that people will bring up and the argument that I would make against them. So if that's of interest to you, let's get right into it. The major difference between hobbies like reading and art and a hobby like gaming boils down to the stigma surrounding it. It's obviously become more mainstream nowadays with things like Twitch and nerd culture coming to fruition. However, it's not as common as we might like to believe. Some numbers would suggest that 50% of the world's population plays video games, but I don't think that's quite right. This depends on your interpretation of the numbers. Would you consider someone who only plays Candy Crush to be an actual gamer? What about someone who plays Words with Friends or the new Monopoly game on their phone that we see getting popular? The amount of gamers in the world is strictly tied to what your definition of a gamer would be. So let's go ahead and define our terms for this video so we know exactly what we're talking about. We're defining gamers as people who own consoles specifically for gaming or spend money on things just to have a better gaming experience. For example, if you buy the newest phone just because it has the best gaming experience on it, and you dedicate time to just playing video games, that's what I'm referring to when I talk about a gamer. So just playing a game while you're in the car and someone else is driving, or while you're waiting at your dentist appointment playing Candy Crush, those aren't the people we're actually talking about here. We're talking about more dedicated players who dedicate time and resources into just playing video games. So to get this number, we'll add the number of gaming PCs with the number of the last two generations of consoles sold worldwide. The Xbox One, the Series S, and the Series X sold a combined 80 million consoles. Xbox itself reports 120 million active users, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and go with 120 million, even though the math doesn't quite add up. The PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 have sold 155 million units combined, and the Switch has sold 125 million units, and there are 120 million active Steam users. So if we apply the rule that every console is unique to a person with no one owning more than one console or playing on console and Steam, then that still means that there are only about 520 million gamers out of 7.8 billion, which is about 6.66%. Ironically, that also means that gaming is the devil. It's a long ways from 50%, as many articles would have you believe. So how does the world actually look at these 6% of people who dedicate time and money into playing video games with no promise of reward or payoff? Well, in my experience, not very good. You see, in America, and I'm sure elsewhere in the world, we have this weird culture where if something isn't going to make you money at some point, it's just a waste of time. Everything is measured in value by the potential dollar amount it could bring you. And what's worse is that children were also taught this. I'm sure most of you watching this at some point heard a parent or adult tell you to stop wasting your life playing video games and study on something that would get you a real job. I believe it's partially for this reason that we have so many American streamers and YouTubers in gaming now. Our culture is so ultra focused on money that if you want to enjoy something, you have to monetize it. To be perfectly clear, I don't think there's anything wrong with monetizing your passions or hobbies or anything like that. I'm just stating that I don't think we'd have nearly as many Twitch streamers and YouTubers if we weren't so fixated as a culture on making money through everything we do. We have this belief that if you're not making money, it's a waste of time and it's just not worth the effort. And I think that's just completely false, and I think it leads to a lot of depression and anxiety we see. I think having fun and making time for stress relief is a very important thing that needs to be taken more into consideration. For this point, I'm just saying I think we have more people trying to make money to justify their passion or their hobby that is gaming. With that being said, people look at adult gamers the same way they look at people still in a band at 30. We're kind of like losers who simply won't grow up. Even now you have huge influencers like Andrew Tate telling women that if their husband plays video games, they should divorce them. So if you ask someone with this stigma we've just discussed the question of what gaming can do for someone, they'd probably say nothing or give you some type of negative response. However, this is clouded judgment because of a bias. The fact is that almost every game can give you something. If it's a puzzle game, you're developing your problem-solving skills. Exploration games teach you about attention to detail. Games with no voice acting can even develop your reading skills because you're literally reading. Story games can even help your writing skills. As you see and experience characters develop, you learn how to introduce that into your own writing. Hardcore MMOs can develop many different skills like optimization, math, problem solving, efficiency, and even social skills. The point is that gaming can do arguably more for you than most other hobbies ever could. It can develop so many skills for you, and oftentimes you don't even realize it's happening. I can tell you that from raid leading in World of Warcraft for so many years, I got way better at things like optimization, efficiency, group management, personnel management, logistics, all types of skills that I've used in my everyday work life. And those are all things that I got from a video game. I started raid leading at like 14 years old. There's no way I would have just had those skills. They were developed over time, and they were developed inside of a video game. You can even debatably learn more about art from seeing so many different art styles in different games than you could from just painting as a hobby. Will you be learning these things as efficiently as something like a college course? Of course not. But you will still be learning things subconsciously or consciously nonetheless, especially if you take the time to try to notice different things about the video games you're playing and let the knowledge sink in. Games usually also have you focusing on goals. At any point in most games, you'll have a specific goal in mind. I need to talk to this person. I need to go and kill this thing. Or I need to hit this level. Or kill this boss. It teaches and trains our brains to break things down into smaller, achievable goals and work out an efficient way to achieve them. And guess what? If you ask any psychologist the keys to being more productive in your daily life, that's going to be one of the top things they tell you to do, to break your long-term goals down into shorter-term, very achievable goals. So games are actually kind of making us just all around better at life, but they're also making us worse. So that's where we get into the side effects of gaming. Gaming can get competitive, to say the least, just like sports. However, the difference is in sports, you suppress your anger from a bad play because you don't really want any kind of physical altercation. I mean, we do see it, but it's not every play or anything. In gaming, that threat kind of goes away entirely. This makes us much bolder and brazen with each other. The common terminology is called being a keyboard warrior or something like that. Now, the potentially dangerous side effect of this is that the boldness can start to bleed over into our real life interactions without us even noticing. It's important at gamers to understand that there are different social expectations when it comes to online gaming and interacting with other people. And I know this seems obvious, and 99% of you already know this and you're thinking like, duh, but some people actually need to hear that because they do start to lose that barrier between online gaming and real life interactions. The other side effect of gaming that does warrant discussion is the potential for addiction. This one is debated to this day, but I believe that if it causes a chemical release in your brain and you get urges to do something when you're not doing it, that can be classified as an addiction. Now let me be perfectly clear. I am not comparing this to a drug or alcohol addiction by any means, but rather that you can get caught up playing games so much that before you realize it, you're blowing off other aspects of your life. You're not hanging out with your friends anymore, or you're dodging things that you have an obligation to. You stop doing your normal routines, and it's all because you're really into this game, or you justify it by saying, I'm so close to finishing it. And every now and then, even that's okay, but it's important to not take that too far or let it become a normal pattern in your everyday life. So which is it? Is it a waste of time? Is it a waste of your life? Or is it not? Well, like I said in the beginning, it is and it isn't. There are clear benefits that come from gaming, like joy, friendships, social interactions, skill development if you take time to understand things around you in the game. Whether or not gaming is a waste of time is truly up to you. The way I see it, everything is a waste of time. You just have to decide what's worth wasting your time on. I go to work to waste time so I can pay for the box I live in. I waste time watching TV because it might make me laugh, or it might make me cry, or I might enjoy what's happening on the screen. I waste time making YouTube videos because I love to do it, and I love to see my subscriber count grow, meaning people are liking my content. Guys, the point is, and what you should take away from this video, is that your time is yours to waste. No one can tell you how to spend or waste your time. Whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it, whatever your outlook is on life and time and everything, it is yours and yours alone. So don't do things because people tell you you should or shouldn't do them. Live a life that's going to make you happy. And if that life is spent wasting your time on video games, then waste your time on video games. That's going to do it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it for you guys. I hope to see you in the next one. And as always, have a great week.